Good morning, Year 2. So we're going to start off the day looking at science and microhabitats again. Now, because of Ramadan, it is shorter lessons. It's only half an hour, so that's why the lessons are a little bit shorter. If you find sometimes the lesson is a bit long, then do stop and only take that half an hour. Okay? Now, for this lesson, you have been given 6 questions to have a look at. So it's only a couple of slides. Now, it's just to see what you've learned so far about microhabitats and what we maybe need to look at a bit more. So I'm just going to talk through microhabitats now, and then you're going to have a go at those 6 questions in your books. And there is also a word search on the caterpillar if you have finished and want a bit more fun. Okay, so number 1. Now, what do we need to survive, including us, or living things? Now, I think you're all super confident with this right now, so let's see if I can do it. We need food and, of course, water. We need air, oxygen. We also need shelter to keep us warm and to keep us healthy. We also need, 4th one, space, okay? Plenty of space to exercise and to move and to grow, okay? I think we're all confident with that. Now let's look at different habitats. Now, one or two of you might have said an apartment is a habitat, or even a small town or a city is a habitat. Now, a habitat is more of an area, sort of an environment that you live. So, for example, if we look at animals, the rainforest is a habitat, it's an area. And also where we live is actually a desert. You wouldn't be completely wrong if you said Dubai, but in science, a habitat would be the desert. Okay, so your task in one of the questions is to think of what other habitats there are in the world. Now, number 3, I've said, can you give me a few examples of different mini bees, insects? So I know you're all going to give me many examples of this, and I'll give you 1 or 2. My favourite one is the butterfly and also the ladybird. So these mini bees can be found in a microhabitat because they're quite small, and a microhabitat is also small. Now, let's see, what else is there? Can you give an example of a microhabitat where a worm might live? Now, what does a worm need from its habitat? Now, it needs those 4 things to survive that we've just talked about. Do you think a worm would survive in a habitat such as a desert? No, because those living things that, say, live in a desert have actually adapted, they've changed, or they are perfectly suited to that area. So they can go quite a while, for example, without water. A worm needs somewhere quite moist and wet, and it usually lives in a dark area as well. So if we think back to our microhabitats, what did you all make last week? One example I will give is, let's say, under a log, okay? So they're usually found in a woodland area. Number 5, I'm just looking at the slideshow with you. Camouflage. What does this word mean? Now, we've looked at this word in a few different topics. Oh, I'd love to give it away for you. I think I might leave that one and see what you come up with, a really good explanation of that word. And the last one is, what does the word adapted mean? Now, it's not just looking at that word adapted in science. Sometimes think about it in English. So to adapt to something, it means to change with something. So what is very clever is these living things adapt, or they change to suit where they live. So for example, let me see, the polar bear, okay, in its cold conditions, it has grown a layer of fat under its fur. This is called blubber. So it has adapted to where it lives. Okay, so that is a quite quick reminder about microhabitats and habitats in general. So you've got 6 questions, have a go, and if you finished, have fun with your word search. And I will see you shortly in maths and English.